Welcome back, Embers, or if you're new here, welcome to the Campfire Crew. My name is Sarah. My pronouns are they, them. So today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial, which my friend requested on my last video. I start every makeup look off the same way, and that is with my Milani eyeshadow primer. And just squeeze a tiny little bit and rub it all over my eyes. I don't know if everybody does this, but I do the under eye too, because I love doing eyeshadow on my eye bags. I think it's so cute. So today I'm going to be using my Be Perfect Carnival 3 Love Tahiti palette. This is what it looks like right now, and I start a lot of my looks off basically the exact same way. So all of my looks, I start off with a nice little fluffy brush. You can see this one. I don't have a lot of brushes because I am relatively new to makeup. I only started doing makeup during the pandemic. Let's go for maybe clay, maybe something with these greens. Ooh, you know what? Let's go for bamboo. I think bamboo will be pretty. I've been really loving like bamboo, khaki clay, these kind of greeny, yellowy browns right now. I think part of it is because I've seen a lot of them with that Natasha Denona Yucca palette, Yucca, whatever, however you're supposed to say it, palette that came out. So I'm gonna dip into bamboo. So Be Perfect's formula I find really powdery, but I actually really like it. I kind of like a nice powdery formula. And I start them all off the same way. So I'm gonna be at this angle so I can actually see myself. But I just start with the lightest color right in the crease. And I usually start like 3/4 out and just go along the natural shape right above my eyelid. So I stick it like in my eyelid, and my brush is fluffy enough that when I put it in my eyelid, like my eye crease, it goes above and a little bit below the crease. So I just kind of buff that in to start. And then usually I'll take a little more of the color. What color did I pick? Oh, bright bamboo. I'll take a little more of the color, dust it off, and then I start right kind of in the crease here. And I've noticed for me, I always like my eyeshadow best when it's at an angle. So it's like from the corner of my eye to the corner of my eyebrow. So like this angle, but I just take it down a little bit from there. So it's like that angle, down a little bit. This is always the angle I try and go for. So I'm just gonna very lightly start that angle going. And I usually pull it out to about this point. Like I said, there's a lot of variation in the ways you can do this to make different looks. Sometimes I pull it out way more. Usually when I pull it out more, I put it at more of a steep angle. And then I kind of connect them and I blend right in there to make it a nice smooth line. And then I blend it all the way up to my eyebrows because my eyebrows are very close. Like I don't have a lot of lid space, so I just kind of blend it all the way up into my eyebrow because I do not care. And then I take a little more and I just kind of I put it right into the crease. And usually at this point, when I'm trying to deepen it out, I'll put it, instead of right on my crease like I was the first time, I'll do it a little bit below my crease so it kind of sticks right into the crease. So my crease is about here-ish. So instead of doing it right into my crease, I'll go just a little bit lower. That way I'm getting the deepest color right into my crease and no higher. At least that's the theory. And then I just do the other eye, and I'll be right back when I'm done. So I like to do lightest to darkest. So I'm going to take clay and do the inner corner now, and then I do the outer corner at the end, and you'll see. So I'm going to grab this brush. So it's another blending brush. It's kind of big and fluffy for my inner corner, but I'm not working with much here. So I just take a small little blending brush And I'm going to go in with clay this time. And I'm going to bring that right into the inner corner and just kind of buff it out, you'll see. So I just stick it right on the inside, and I usually do the inner corner. I just stamp it right onto the inner corner. So this is more of a like one color to the next sort of look as opposed to lightest to darkest. I'll blend in the lid first, and then with whatever's left on the brush, I'll use it to blend the crease colors together. And because I'm using a very similar depth of shade, and they're pretty similar shades, they're gonna transition really well. So I just kind of bring that through in the crease, bring it in a little bit, and stamp it on my inner corner, and that's all I do for that. And then I'm gonna again do it on the other side. There we go, both sides are done. So this is where the variation starts. So this is kind of a one color to the next color look, and I'll show you in the next one the other thing I do where it's lightest to darkest, all of the same color. But the differences between those I find is the two colors, you can do a third color if they're further away from color. So if you have like a blue to red and then you put purple in the middle to transition them, you can do that. But this is just green to yellow, and those go really nicely into each other, so you just go green to yellow. But if you're doing a bigger jump, I'd suggest putting a color in the middle that's between those two colors and then blending them into each other. So blending the red into the purple and then the purple into the blue instead of just blending red into blue. At least that's what I do. But I find the different colors to be more fun. But you can also do, sometimes I'll do like a bright shimmer on the inner corner, something like that. Or I'll do a pop of a completely different color on the inner corner. Just little things like that can change my like two basic looks into more of a variety. And so I'm going to go back with that bamboo shade and just kind of re-up this color, blend it in a little bit up here. Just kind of make sure it's still nice and punchy. And usually when I'm doing this kind of transition work, I won't do as much tapping off of my brush because I want all that pigment in there. And I'm really extra, so I always want the absolute most amount of color payoff. So I'm just going to go over it, blend a little. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go in, and this is why I always do lightest to darkest, because I'm going to use that same little brush, because again, I don't have that many brushes, so this is my favorite like little brush. I'm just going to wipe it off on the back of my hand a little bit. I don't care if I completely get the color off, and then I'm just going to go into a darker color and take that into the crease. So again, variation. You could pick how dark you go for how dramatic you want it. I'm thinking today I'm going to go into Forest to have it be like a really, really dark outer corner and really give it a little bit of a kick. Because right now it's all the same tones, which is fine, very cute, but I want a really dark outer corner. So I'm going to just tap into Forest. And from what I remember, Forest is a really pigmented shade, so I'm just going to go light if I can. And I usually start this not on the outside, but kind of right on my lower lash line. I just stamp it on kind of right there. And then I kind of wing it up and in towards my crease. Then I really push it into my eye socket. So you can see right there, I'm just pushing it straight into my eye socket and just kind of blending that out. And then I'm going to take another little tap of that, and I'm just going to make it a little. So I start by tapping it, then pulling it up where I want it to go. I'm putting it in that crease, and then I'm going to kind of meet those two in the middle. Connect them. And I like to do it so instead of just up and down, it's like a little bit of a C. Not that it's going to matter because I'm probably going to throw glitter on top of it, but that's just how I like to do it. Now I'm just getting real in close and personal, doing a couple more dabs. Right now I'm tapping it on because I really want that pigment. And just with the excess, bring it almost all the way in, like 3/4 of the way in. Because I have really hooded eyes, so when I open them, you'll barely see it anyway. So I just like to take it all the way in, so it, I don't know, it just follows the natural shape of my eye, and I like it. Again, this is what this side looks like right now. I'm going to do the other one. Now both sides are done. If I wanted to make this even darker, I could go in with a black and just kind of basically even smaller, just do the same thing, wing it out here and out there. But I don't want to make it darker. I think this is dark enough. Again, I'm going to go into that bamboo shade and just blend a little bit. At this point, I try not to do too much blending and try and just, you know, gently blend it, stipple it out a little bit. Just kind of make sure that color's still there, because you usually, well, you can see now that like half of what I just did, I covered up with a giant wing. Okay, then I'm going to do the lower lash line. So this is another, let me put on my glasses. This is another way I like to make everything different on a look, is with the lower lash line. So some ways you can change up your lower lash line, at least that I do, is there's a difference between if you match the top to the bottom. So today I'm going to be matching the top to the bottom. So I'm going to be doing the yellow, then the green in the middle, and then the dark right on just the outer corner. So I'm going to be matching top to bottom, but you can also do a pop of color on the bottom. You can do a pop of color that's close to this. So I could do a blue, because blue's at the tail end of green. I could do like a brighter yellow to contrast kind of this color and make that pop out. I could do a purple to really contrast everything. A pink, whatever. And that's going to change how your look looks. I could also do a really tight line, which I might do. I'll see how I like it. You could do a really tight line, or you could blow it the hell out. Just like a flat brush. I think it's flat packing brush is what it's called. But it's just flat, and the top is just like a flat straight line. So I'm going to use that, and that's what I usually use to tightline. Is there better things to use? Probably. So I think I'm going to start with bamboo, because I'm going to use the same brush on the entire lower lash line. So you do lightest to darkest, or if two shades are really similar, like bamboo and clay are both as bright as each other, I think clay's probably got more pigment to it. It's a little more bold, so I think I'll do bamboo first. That way when I put clay on top of it, clay is going to overpower that bamboo shade that's already on my brush, and it'll show up as clay instead of bamboo. Whereas I think if I did it the other way around, you wouldn't really see bamboo. So I just tappity tap tap, tap it off. And I'm usually not very picky about this. I kind of like, if it goes tight, I'll leave it tight. If it goes more smudgy, I'll let it be smudgy. But the effects are different. So if you really tight line it, I find it looks more clean, more like glamour, more put together. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with bamboo on the other eye. Whereas if you smudge it out a lot, it looks more grungy, more kind of cool, I find a lot of times. More like young and fresh and interesting. But it definitely does not look as like refined and civilized and classy when you smudge it out. But usually if I'm using bright colors, I'll just smudge it out because I want people to see it. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm gonna tap my little brushy brush into clay. Same thing, just a couple taps. Then I'm gonna really carefully stamp it on. Out there, then the other side. That's good enough for me. Then just scrub it off a little bit, and then I'm gonna go into forest and just tip tap tap. And for this, I start up where the wing is, and I go down, and I kind of look up, like up, chin up, when I'm doing this part. I angle it in a weird way, and I just kind of try and connect the wing to the bottom. And because blending it doesn't make it look quite as pigmented, a lot of times I'll just stamp it just into this part and the top lash line a little bit, just to make the closest part to my eye look as dark as possible. So then I'll do it on the other eye. So I start down here, stamp, stamp, stamp. Do a little stamping, do a little brushing. Get very quiet and connect it. Then go in again to darken it up. Then I go up a little bit. I go on the lower lash line, and I make a tinier version of the wing that I have up here, just to make it the darkest possible right in the corner. So now my top and lower lash line match. So I'm going to do a shimmer. I'm going to take my glitter glue by Too Faced. Okay, basically, if you want it kind of to go everywhere, use your finger and it'll blend in really nicely. But today, I think I want it to be more specifically placed, so I'm going to use a brush. So I use a brush to place the glitter glue. I just put like a little dollop. So I'm just going to lean in real close. And right in the center, because it's a big glob, I put it right on the center and then spread it out. Right on the center, lower lash line, and then I kind of go to the inside. Tap it onto the outside. I find when I use a brush, sometimes I pull off whatever eyeshadow I have. So in the center, I'll just brush it on, but on the outside, I'll just tap. That way it doesn't pull off any makeup that's already on there. And then I'm going to go in with this shade, and I'm going to go on the opposite side as the glitter glue. I'm just going to go in here. With glitters, I always tap them out. I mean, this isn't like a pressed glitter, but with shimmers, I always tap them out. And then I'm going to start again. I start in the center with glitters. So I'm going to start on the right hand center because the middle center is going to be the gold. I'm just going to go up, as far up as I want to go. Then out. And that looks good to me. Then I'll wipe that on my hands, and I'll go in with this gold called Majesty. Make sure to tap that out. And then I'm going to go to the innermost part. So with my inner corner, I go like right into the inner corner and then. And for my inner corner, I angle it kind of this way so that this flat part of the brush is what goes into my inner corner. And I just kind of tap that on. Which reminds me, I need to start loading the corner of my brush. So I'm going to load that corner that I was pressing into with more glitter because it didn't really have anything on it. And then I'm going to just use that corner, press it right on, press the gold in, and just kind of lay the gold a little bit over the green if I can get it. And this is why I start with the inner, so that when you just have a tiny little bit on your brush, you can lay them straight over each other. Gonna take a little more gold. Sorry, that's the gold's off screen. Start on the inner, really make that really bright, and then take a very little bit, just the excess, and pop it over the green. And I'm gonna flip it over, brush some gold off, go back into the green just very lightly. And just make that very outer corner really pigmented, just green, and then keep the middle with the transition. And that's going to be the finished look. Let me do the other side, and I'll be right back. Last thing I'm going to do, I'm sure you figured this out by now, but I'm going to go back in with my other brushes, and I'm going to punch up those colors. I think it just needs the dark green, so I'm going to dip into Forest. I'm just going to tap it a little bit, just tap it a little bit. I'm not trying to cover up that shimmer too much, just trying to make sure it's nice and pigmented. And then I'm going to do some mascara. I have CoverGirl Clump Crusher is the mascara I have, which probably needs to be, smells fine, but I think it's getting a little dry. But I'm still just going to pop it on. The outside. Let's do. Okay, that's it. Lash line. Brush now. Okay, I'm just. And there we are. That is look 1. And this is how it turned out. I hope you like it, and I'll see you in part 2.